Isabel. Your peach orchards and Bermuda grass and the palladium window to survey your lake. Oh, how exquisite and how cool your estate is. A welcome escape from the mildew and mosquitoes of New Orleans. While I labor here with Solomon, my husband. Why, oh why, is he such a foolish... What is it?
Where's the movie?
How should I know? Look, Mama has to put her store together in the morning, and she needs her sleep. Be brave.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
Your wedding ring, my dear woman.
Get out of that drawer!
You know, it's amazing. You want blooded horses and servants with pea green waistcoats, but you're not willing to take any risks.
Take any risks? Have you forgotten what happened in Nashville? You have crossed the line, you careless, callow...
You've crossed the line, you over-pampered, lace-curtained daughter.
You need to remember!
You need to forget.
Get away! Get out! You need to remember that the Queen of Hearts was more precious than your wife and children. You need to remember when we had only potatoes because you had the audacity to...
Because I see life the way it is.
You don't work hard enough to know what life is.
And you never really realized what a hypocritical coward you are.
I'm only surprised you haven't wagered us.
Oh, what an elegant shawl! Last time I saw silk so fine, it was the outdoor market of Jean Lafitte. We later found out he was a pirate. Did you know him?
No, we've only been in New Orleans for 2 years.
Why do you own a store even though you're married?
Why not? My husband has a business that involves short-term investments and tempting large dividends and sometimes major losses. We need to offset the risks.
Harriet, don't take this the wrong way, but does your husband work the slave market?
Oh, no. No.
He's that tall, well-built young man with black hair. Solomon, right?
Yes, that's him.
Well, Mary Overton, who I think is just jealous, said something about him associating with smugglers.
Oh, fie on Mary Overton!
Yes. My husband's business brings him face to face with some unsavory characters. But he's not breaking any laws.
What kind of deals is he making then?
Oh, my bug, my beautiful slug. My brother Zesh is back from Texas.
Did that new Santiani dictator run him out of town?
No, in fact, he's saying Texas is a place to be. There's Stephen Austin's claiming homeroom down there.
Just deal, will you?
Thank you, Darwin.
Thank you, ma'am.
The signals you've given us, Sophie, are beautifully discreet.
Well, for such gentlemen, a girl can do a lot.
Zed says there's a Mexican law that's privy to settlers, and that's the main reason why a lot of people should go down to Texas. Right, the land there is richer than any country. Bottom land is probably 75 cents an acre.
You don't say. Well, Sully, have you considered moving to Texas? Get that pretty wife of yours off the mercantile business.
I heard no one enforces law down there. Only a few Mexicans in sight. Shoot one lucky kicker, and you can own an entire plantation.
Just may consider it.
Now that the greenhearts are gone, let's just take what we have.
Very well then. Let's speed up, gentlemen. $400. No draw.
I don't bet blind.
My word. Are you such a fraud that you've lost all faith in Lady Luck? I mean, because I know Zeke's gonna lose.
This is beyond your bent. You two are crazy.
Just think, Zekey boy. You win this, and you can buy the Guadalupe.
Unnecessary.
Zekey, you gotta learn to love your chances. If you lose, you're kin to stay here in New Orleans. I'll raise it $200.
We're playing flat.
Zekey, where's your nerve? Sully, we're playing flat. Very well then. Gentlemen, I present to you the unvarnished truth.
3 aces!
Hattie, we're going to Texas.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking our way is clear. We're gonna have a plantation.
I can't have a store in a country like that.
That's just it, Hattie. You're not gonna need a store. I got the money. Look at here, woman.
Solomon, you do amaze me.
This is land, Hattie. And there ain't no insurance against any kind of bad luck like a plantation.
Why Texas?
Land is there for the asking. Virgin soil. 50 cents an acre. Each will give us 2 bales. Buy land cheap and sell dear. We'll have a barouche, a colonnaded home, and scullery maids before you know it.
But first we'll need a Blackmore slave and a quadroon overseer, and how will we secure the travel and the children?
I just talked to the captain of the Amos Wright. You know those Eastern Clippers? Well, the Amos Wright is just a cloud of billowing canvas. We'll travel like the wind, right from here in New Orleans down to the rich Brazos River. We can even stop and stay with your father and brother for a spell.
All right, Solomon, but now that you've made it big, promise me one thing. Promise me that your life with cards will end now.
Hattie, Texas is the last gamble we're going to have to make.
John, your sister's here! Sis, I never to see you again.
Well, who is this strong young man with this wonderful inheritance just spangled all over with wildflowers?
Where's Solomon?
Oh, he's at the port waiting to get a wagon for our things. Daddy here brought us so we could see you as soon as possible.
Well, here he is, the man, Solomon. How you been? Good to see you, John. Is Hattie here? Of course. What's the problem? Where are your barrel supplies? I'm gonna have to talk to Hattie about it. Look, if you have some problems with the porter, you can talk to me. Where's your father? He's out in the fields, but as I said, I can deal with the problem. Oh, there's a problem, all right. But I'm gonna have to talk to Hattie about it first. Hattie, your husband's here.
Solomon! What? Where are our supplies?
I need to talk to you in private, Hattie.
In private? You talk to me now. What happened to the barrels?
I lost them, but I'm gonna get them back.
What do you mean you lost them?
I was cheated, Hattie. You mean you were swindled? Tell me who did it. It was in cards. That's why I have to be the one to get them back. So are you saying that you're gambling away all the supplies of your family? Look, you don't know how this works. Oh, so you think you're just gonna go find some gambling partners back in New Orleans and get them all back? Look, this is not your affair, son. I can help you, sir, but you better move right fast. I must ask you not to tell me what to do.
Stop it, Johnny Solomon! Please. And please don't tell Daddy. Johnny, is there anything you can do to get our supplies back?
I'll do what I can, but I know Daddy's gonna know it one way or another.
Solomon, why don't you show some decency and go out to meet your father-in-law? Johnny, please don't tell Daddy.
The news from Anahuac, Nacogdoches, Mexico City is chilling. We Texians are getting into a storm to defend our liberties, and we've got to be ready.
I'm ready to play my part. The Mexicans have already lost this territory, and it's about time they realized it.
But before you go running off, though, son, If I were you, I would get those barrels of yours from town, and you could bring them here. You can store them in the shed.
Yes, Harriet. It's very fine to have your family,
Well.
but we need some help. Well, I'm sure Solomon has everything under control, and by tomorrow we'll have a feast on our account. Isn't that right, Solomon?
Harriet, give me some time.
Why? To go into town? Why, I could.
There's no reason to go like this anymore.
John, please.
Harriet, it's no use. We're fortunate to get anything back now. Solomon, why don't you tell your father-in-law what you get?
Well, Dad, we've had a business deal gone wrong, and it's going to take a while.
Why don't you talk straight and tell him what you gambled away all the family's provisions?
Aren't we high-minded? Isn't all business gambling?
Gambling? Solomon, did you gamble away your family's versions? Harriet, what are you two up to? You don't know the whole story.
Dr. Moore, you can understand. You brought your family here to this uncharted territory, and disobedience to the law. I mean, in our country, business is a risk. Life at its fullest is a risk.
But you gambled away your family's bread?
I don't need this. You people don't trust me? Well, fine. We don't need to trust you. Come on, Harriet, we're leaving.
Solomon, no!
Harriet, leave Paige. Do the sensible thing.
Francis, need we take on 3 more mouths to feed? What if this lunatic young man decides to...
Harriet, it's time. We're leaving.
Don't worry, we are indeed leaving.
Women, be sensible. What John got back from the merchants is not going to be enough. Hattie, you go with that rogue in this wild country, and I fear for you.
Daddy, I love you, but we've gotten by before, and we can get by again. I will not be a cause of want or unhappiness.
But you must have some potatoes.
We, though, have none to spare. Goodbye, Daddy. This is our house? And with meager provisions? Oh, you're a fool!
This is the wilderness, Hattie, and land is really cheap.
No! No!
We'll make do for a spell. I've heard there's a widow woman in that cabin yonder, and she can help you while I'm gone.
Gone? You're leaving me?
Like you said, Hattie, this is not a place to live in, and we're going to do better.
You are not going to leave us here alone.
Introduce yourself to the woman. Her name is Embry.
Solomon, you stop!
I'm just doing what you and your family's demanded. I'm working to provide.
Mrs. Embry, you're so kind to take us in for the night and to give us dinner.
What has your husband done in life?
He's been a businessman.
You have such fine clothes.
Thank you. I had a shop for women in the Upper Faubourg district of New Orleans.
You two are a dashing couple, but why did you not bring down sufficient flour, beans, potatoes? You have nothing but a basket of corn.
My husband's business deals went bad.
Well, you have lovely clothes. I had to clean my dress and turn it upside down yesterday to have something new. And then I bathed this morning. Don't I feel fine?
Wish I felt that way.
Oh, Hattie, I know you know, but taking on a wild country is not a time to repair your fortunes. But poverty does make for good prayers, and I will pray for you.
Thank you for your prayers. I too shall pray. Still, though, I worry. In fact, I've never been so afraid in all my life.
Honey, thank you for coming to see me again.
Is your cough any better?
I'm afraid I've had this cough now for over a year.
Oh, you poor soul.
Thanks, Harriet. But who knows what God will do? Only that it will be best.
Well, I just wanted to tell you that my husband has found us a house on Austin Bayou, and we'll be leaving.
Austin Bayou? There's no one who lives up there. Sweetie, I must give you something. A bucket, some black-eyed peas. Is your husband a hunter?
He has a gun. He's very talented.
Harriet, tell me the truth. It might be important.
I wanted to give you something. It's needle and thread and scissors for my shop in New Orleans.
Thanks, Harriet. It's just wonderful, and I can use them. My nephew and his family visit all the time. Thank you. Tell your husband to visit me should you go hungry, and we will find something. In fact, if you could...
I cannot tarry any longer. I have to go. My husband is impatient and angry with me. Goodbye.
Is this not a good home to start in, Mrs. Page?
You mean to tell me that Mr. Merrick is just letting us use this?
Yes, he owns it. I'll be working for him.
But Mrs. Embry told me that there are no people around here anywhere. We haven't even seen chimney smoke. What are we supposed to do for Mr. Merrick out here?
Actually, Hattie, I'll be returning from whence we came.
Solomon, you are not going to leave us alone again. You told me that you would be working his cattle.
As you can see, he has no cattle here. You just imagined it.
We have fewer provisions and no neighbors, and now you're going to desert us again? How dare you?
You don't trust me, do you? You're just like your family.
Well, at least leave us a gun.
I'm not going to leave you the gun. You'd only hurt yourselves with it.
We have a little corn and some peas, but what else do we have to eat? I can't take the children outside with the snakes and then the wildcats. Are you mad?
I'm not mad. Look at this fine house. I know what I'm doing. Would you rather go back and live with your stepmother?
So that's why you brought us to Texas? So you could leave us and starve us?
Goodbye, Mrs. Page. I advise you to stay put. I'm going to come back soon, and we're going to start our life on a new keel. And the first thing I'm going to do is teach you to trust me.
No!
Dear Papa, I don't know if this letter will ever reach you, but Father, I have been deceived. My husband doesn't understand that courage without forethought is foolishness. I don't know if this letter will ever reach you. The children and I are now starving in the wilderness. We've exhausted our supply of black peas, and the only thing left to eat are parsley haws, which we find around the house where we are now, on Austin Bayou. I don't know what has happened to my husband. I remember that you read me once from Robinson Crusoe, and Robinson said, "O solitude, where are thy charms? It would be better to dwell in the midst of alarm than alone in this terrible place. I cannot think of one benefit, and I can hardly write for want of food, nor can sleep atone for the hunger. The howling of wolves at night is enough to freeze my veins. Papa, I have always loved you. Help us now. Your daughter,
Amy.
Hattie."
I'm so pleased you and Don decided to get married before you left to fight the Mexicans at San Antone. I never thought I'd lose both my husband and my stepson.
If our last messenger was right, our men performed gloriously against the Mexican General Cos. John said he could hoop at home around Christmas. I believe him.
You got a good husband. Give him a double-barreled shotgun and he'll bring back a bear. He's the one that insisted we take the Kelly turning plow to Texas.
But your stepdaughter, Hattie, she's having some bad luck?
Yes. Her husband's a handsome fool. I warned her from the beginning.
Where exactly are they now?
I don't know. But what can I do? They say Santa Anna is about to depart from Texas with the army from Mexico City. We need all the menfolk we can get. Can't afford to send out an expedition every time she gets herself in trouble.
Hattie, I need some victuals.
Oh, you're back. Not one word of greeting. You need what?
Peas.
I sent you away 10 days ago with $10, and you come back with nothing? We have been starving. How dare you come back with only your own hungry mouth to feed?
Well, I checked out that Embry woman, and she wasn't home.
You know, when you married me, you liked my daring. You said you were willing to take some risks. You deceived me.
You are murdering us! Hear me, Solomon Page, you are the provider!
I can't even think anymore.
We will starve!
Ingrate, you would deserve it. But for the children's sake, Mr. Merrick's coming up here soon, and you can give him a letter for your family.
A curse be on you, Solomon Page! I hope the first Spanish bullet fired hits you in the heart!
I thought I was going to lose you as well as the children.
Mr. Merrick, for you to stay with us these days and to nurse us back to health. You're our savior.
Well, unfortunately, though, I'm going to have to mosey on here.
But, Mr. Merrick, take us with you.
I'll leave you the jerky and the game, and certainly Solomon should be back soon.
No, he's gone off to fight the Mexicans, and he's probably dead. We can't stay here alone.
Mrs. Page, it has been my endeavor to visit my sister as well as 2 nephews and my brother, who might even be presumably dead. There's a war going on. It's winter. Everyone is in need of provisions. I'll take you outside and teach you how to hunt for quail eggs. But I must be going. I have only 1 good horse and not a day to spare.
Mr. Merrick, we won't be any trouble.
I'll give you my knife. Give me your letter and I'll give it to your next of kin. I'll have it delivered to your next of kin.
Well, I have the letter, but how do I know that...
At a time like this, you must trust people, Harriet.
Mr. Merrick, you have no wife, right?
My family did die 5 years ago.
And I have no spouse either. He's dead. I dreamt it, I'm sure of it.
But what can I do? Stay here and nurse you more? I don't have time. Abandon my affairs to live with you?
Miss Embry, I've witnessed many like you who can no longer work. They panic. Some even curse, but not you.
Yes. Through this trial, I see how much pride I fix to my work. Must I be proud to be happy? No. No. 1,000 times.
Miss Embry, I want to talk more to you, but before doing so, did you mention a friend before?
Yes. There's a woman up in Austin Bayou. Harriet Page. I believe her husband in Providence. Can you see? Let her live here. I believe she may starve.
Miss Embry?
What are you digging for?
Miss Page, are you telling me that your husband left you stranded?
My husband is dead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Harriet, your friend Miss Embry, she passed away.
Mrs. Embry died.
Yes. She thought of others constantly, even in death. She wanted you to have something. Well, I don't know much about this house, but with all these barrels of corn crib and flour and molasses, I'd say you're pretty well set.
Reverend Cloud, I don't know how to thank you, or Mrs. Embry. We were as good as dead, and now we have plenty.
This is a lot like what Jesus offers us. In life we have nothing, and in death we have much.
I wish you could stay longer. I love hearing you talk.
Maybe we could have a church here someday, but there are many others who need my reassurance and help.
But you'll come and visit us, won't you?
Now, don't fret. You have neighbors on both ends of you, none more than a mile away.
But my girl Jenny, she's so sick. Could you stay and teach her the Bible?
Ma'am, I must be leaving.
But... Reverend Cloud...
Wendy! Get out of your cabin!
been lost! Get out of your cabin! Run! Run! Run!
Thank you. We will take note of that.
Run!
Harriet, it's me. He's right. The Mexicans are coming.
I can't wait another hour. Those Mexicanos are gonna cut us to pieces.
Exactly. We can't outrun their horses. Our hope is the sea. We must wait here. Ma, look at Miss Pretty. She's trying hard.
Do you think she's one of those?
Either that, or she's trying mighty hard to appease the enemy.
My, look who just in it. Ain't she a sweet thing?
She looks readier to dance a saucy number than flee the Mexicans. Look, over there. I think it's the man from the Texas Navy. Mr. Potter.
Mr. Potter, it's you.
Mr. Potter.
What a terrible flight, but we're here to set it right.
You're my savior. Can we get a place on the boat?
Please, madam. Ladies and gentlemen, hear me. As the Navy Secretary of our beloved Texian people, I want to assure you that you'd be safe with us. Whatever may be said of General Houston and his habitual style of retreat, we in the Navy have control of the seas. We can rescue anyone. We have a dory on the north shore, and I believe you can already see our schooner, Liberty, also to the north. Thomas here is a captain in our Navy. We'll proceed with the plan of evacuation.
Now, we can't take everyone at once, so we will begin with women with small children.
My son is 3. Can we get a place on the dory?
I have a child who is 2. What about us?
I have a daughter who is 1 and ill. Can we have a place on the boat?
This sounds...
Ma'am, considering the exigencies of your situation, I would like to invite you on the dory with us.
Thank you, gentlemen. You are my guardian angels.
What is your name, my dear woman?
Harriet. Harriet Page.
Ah, I believe I will call you Hattie. Happens to be a name I've reserved for my dearest sister.
Look at her, already operating. Maya, she jumped to the front of the line.
It was more than generous of you to allow us to use your berth.
If I were to be given a rare sapphire, I would be no less put out.
To be rescued by a man of such courage, I feel overwhelmed.
And where is your husband? Not buried by the fires of the Alamo, I hope.
He probably is, but frankly, Mr. Potter, even if he is, I wouldn't care.
Why not?
He gambled away our lives, and he did it with a silly smile on his face.
And so he laughed at Vice.
Mr. Potter, it was almost as if he was never wedded to me. He was married to his cards.
And so he left you and 2 young children to starve on the Texas frontier?
Worse than that. He left us in Austin Bayou, way to the west. We almost starved, twice.
Such a man like that is not fit to live. Should he return, Hattie, give me the word, and I will make sure he never interferes with your affairs again.
Did you hear the news?
What?
Well, you know, our New Orleans ambassador's Mary, if that isn't scandal enough, but I learned something about our rescuer.
Secretary Potter.
Yes.
What? Is he married too?
He was in the North Carolinas, but the big news I heard from Margaret, who speaks to Catherine, who got a letter from her husband about our government, and that he acted like a depraved animal in the past.
What did he do?
He tracked down 2 men who he had believed had taken liberties with his wife and castrated them.
How vile.
I know. Catherine says they even have a new word in the Carolinas to potterize, just to describe this act.
And he's not in prison.
He was, but he argued that his acts were affair of honors.
And the 2 men, they had affairs with her?
This is the most amazing part. Potter alleged that the 2 cousins of the woman, a 43-year-old Rep. Lewis Tyler guy, and the 17-year-old boy, Willie, had defiled his marriage bed.
And he even castrated the 17-year-old boy?
Yes, can you even believe it?
Robert, I so cherish these times in the evenings when you come to see me.
I come, my dear, with a gift. Guess which hand?
Don't tell me you've done more for me.
Something a little more special than wine or honey.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Harriet, if I could bestride the world like the Colossus, if the sound of my name could summon the luster of a Washington or Alexander, if I could command a flotilla of 600 ships,
I would trade this all to be your husband.
Robert, the Secretary of the Texas Navy cannot be consorting with a married woman. However tragically wedded she may be.
Hattie, as for you, your eyes set ablaze lust tender in my heart. My mind reels with the noise of distant storms. My limbs are in flames. Oh, if I could just kiss you, it would be like some divine afflatus.
Stop! Robert, we can't go on like this. And you know why.
I'm gonna find a way to marry you, Harriet. You can count on it.
I hear there's a Mrs. Harriet Page aboard the schooner yonder, and I'd like to see her and indeed my 2 children.
So you're Mr. Page, Mr. Solomon Page?
Yes? How would you know that?
It will be a little wait. Secretary Potter would like to see you first.
Wait, Secretary Potter, is my family well?
They were, sir, until last week. I should tell you, your daughter died suddenly.
Just to think, I was just fighting with General Houston.
Mr. Page, delighted to meet you. Thomas tells me you fought by the San Jacinto a fortnight ago.
I sure did. The best turkey shoot ever.
Yes, I salute you, sir, for your valor. But I must inform you that your wife Harriet expressed to me her unalloyed desire to never see you again.
Whoa, whoa. Why are you telling me this? I just managed to see my wife and children.
She told me to give you this letter.
I don't need that letter.
Sir, only my forbearance for you as a fellow soldier has detained me from arresting you. You forsook your family on the Austin Bayou and nearly starved twice. The result of your dereliction is supremely evident in the case of your young girl, Jenny. I can attest that she never did recover from the awful fevers caused by that terrible famine.
You liar. You probably just have designs for my wife.
Are you miserable? Used to me, Mr. Ace of Spades. If I ever see you near Harriet again, if I even see you consorting in this matter, I will have you hung as a murderer.
I didn't murder anyone.
You murdered your own daughter, Virginia!
Sir, should we make sure we get him a few miles away?
Please do that. If he tries anything, shoot him.
I thought I heard you tell Mrs. Harriet that you were going to New Orleans.
Right, but I want to take the schooner up through the Sabine Crossing instead. I want to go into Texas.
Don't you think she'll know the difference?
Just tell her that we're taking a route up by New Orleans, and tell her I don't want her or the other guests catching that yellow fever that's been raging through the French Quarter in recent weeks.
And what about the contraband? You mean take that to New Orleans?
I've written Richard Surratt of the Commercial Exchange Bank, and he knows the value and the quantity of what we have. I need a wagon, 4 barrels of flour, rifles and pistols, kitchenware, French wine, and all the silver and gold we've collected and foreign currency deposited. Thomas, you and I are going to be able to do great things for Texas someday. Remember my promises to you.
Aye, aye, sir.
Secretary Potter, thank you for taking me and my sister. After the death of my Richard, it'd be a great consolation to see our brother Natchitoches again.
And who would have thought you'd had the foresight to send men ahead of us to build 2 cabins? And you say we can pretty much go up the Sabine?
Yes, after a while I'll send you with some trustworthy men up north.
But I thought we were near New Orleans.
My dear, I neglected to tell you
Neglected to tell me what?
there's a yellow fever going straight through New Orleans.
We're nowhere near New Orleans. We knew that.
I had to make sure that you and Joe would be safe.
But how are we going to survive in a desolate country like that?
Hattie, I have an arsenal of an army. All the supplies you need, all the materials. I even have Bordeaux wine. Would you like some?
Where'd you get all that?
Being Navy Secretary during the war. Hattie, my dear, you've been out thinking again.
I have been thinking, Mr. Potter, and I've been thinking, where is this going to lead? In a few days, the Preston sisters will be gone, and I will either have to go with them or you will have to get me a ship to New Orleans.
Listen, Hattie, I've been thinking too, and an old law book I have in my possession confirms my conviction.
About what?
Harriet, was your marriage with Solomon ever solemnized by a priest?
No, we were married in Nashville.
So once you came to Texas, you as a couple never went before a clergy?
No.
Do you know that by the laws of Texas, you were never married? Do you know that you were free to do as you please?
Free?
Yes. We can even be married in the absence of clergy.
How?
We can get witnesses to sign a bond. We'll hold like iron in the court of law.
You mean that the traveling party with the Preston sisters could just sign a piece of paper and you and I would be man and wife?
Do you think I would invite my beautiful bride to this place just to sightsee?
No. So why did you bring her out?
This is where I plan to build our mansion.
A mansion? At the edge of this gorgeous lake?
Yes, it is the most enchanted part of our state. Much like you. Harriet, you're an ethereal bride in the midst of a fiery revolution.
Oh, Robert, I feel like I'm in heaven already.
Dear Father, I've married the most wonderful man, Robert Potter, former Secretary of the Texas Navy. We are now building a large home beside the most romantically beautiful lake I have ever beheld. For 8 miles, one can look across to the opposite shore over a great sheet of sparkling water that washes onto white beaches. Near our home, a spring of crystal clear water gushes out, from which it ripples into a small branch that feeds the lake. As I look out each morning, I see islands garlanded with loops of wild flowers and graceful vines like dainty fingers diving into the water to clasp their own beautiful reflections. Towering above the lake, the stately trees pantomime the landscape, while at the same time admitting sunlit columns revealing the richest tints of emerald. If indeed you, or any that you know, would like to come settle among us, I would heartily recommend it. We have provisions to help incoming wayfarers that could last for months.
Harriet, I love your garden. And this place by the lake, it's so enchanting.
Please, have some more goodies. Nancy, it's so wonderful to have all of this land. In New Orleans, there are doctors and apothecaries and the bustle of wagons. It's all necessary, but it's all second best. Now, here, Robert has procured every kind of seed, and soon we will have a garden that will meet every need with only the best. Even now, it's helped us to make great strides.
I'm so pleased we found you. Isaac was about to give up on me several times. But that big red rock by the main entrance was the best sign your Potter could have laid.
What? Nancy, why don't you settle here? Persuade Isaac.
We already got an earful on that from Isaac.
You know, Isaac, I could sell you some land real cheap if you'd like it.
I've heard it said around here that the neutral strip between the Red and the Sabine has been a hideout for many years. A haven for outlaws, Indians, runaways. Considering what I saw come down here, I'd say civilization somehow leapfrogged to Central Texas.
True. Northeast Texas was a penumbra between Spanish and American domains, but that's changing.
I have other reservations. Most of the land around here is full of roots, mire holes, dead and decaying wood. The dense canopy of this forest has created a dark, mossy morass. I believe this land is full of miasmatic diseases.
Humbug!
Saw a party of Indians and malcontents coming? Why did you continue?
By that time, we were so far off the main road, frankly, we were just hoping for a place to stay. And
you took quite a risk just to tell us that we shouldn't settle here.
Harriet, that's not the only reason I'm responding to your letters. And I wanted to see you face to face.
Why is that?
When you told me you'd married the Secretary of the Texas Navy, there was a woman in our circle from the Carolinas who knew something about his past.
Well, I know that he had a love in Greensboro.
Harriet, he was married.
He told me he was an old bachelor.
That's not all. Do you know why your popular congressman was so controversial?
Because he was dashing with the ladies, I should presume.
No. He castrated 2 men that he thought were sleeping with his wife.
Robert, you have to tell me the truth about something.
The truth, my dear, is my dearest consort next to you.
Why did you lie to me about your first wife and this potterizing that you allegedly engaged in the Carolinas?
Because love finds it as easy to conceal the truth as it is to rage when defiled.
Love is truth.
Harriet, I know you're going to be upset for a time, but can we let bygones be bygones? You're going to be the queen of all of Lake Country. Goodbye, my love.
You know, you could stay another day.
Hattie, you know my little junkets are totally necessary for the fulfillment of our dreams. I meet the people, get elected, shape the laws, and we have a whole new civilization here in Northeast Texas.
It would also be nice if you were on hand to meet your new child.
I would not miss such a happy day. But Harriet, suspect all wayfarers. You must be sure how to fire the rifles and the pistol. And there is a dirk sheathed on the side of the mattress.
And the French dagger under the settee.
Yes.
And I have the swivel ramrod that goes with the pistol. With the baker, the head will be bent for the powder to be launched. And with the brown bess, I have to have the kind of ball that fits just right.
Precisely, my dear. You're as bright as the sun. Oh, how dark my nights will be without you.
Give me some food, woman.
Who are you?
My name's Possum Perry and I eat some victuals.
Who are you to come barging into my house? You should be ashamed of yourself.
There's no menfolk around here, man. I'm starving, and I suggest you give me something quick.
There are menfolk around here, and if I scream, your life will be over.
Ma'am, I know there's no menfolk around here, and if you scream, that'll be your last breath. Now, give me something. So you just gonna kill me for trespassing? Can't you see I'm starving?
I have some things for you. Now, here. You can take this on your journey.
You're a pretty woman.
I am the wife of the Secretary of the Texas Navy. If you so much as touch me, my husband, Robert Potter, will have you hung. In fact, he'd probably do something much worse.
Well, this is funny. I opened this fancy gun at you, but just because I'm poor old Perry, I'm supposed to put the gun down, because if I don't, your husband's going to do something far worse to me.
You are trespassing, and you are threatening, and I suggest you leave now.
Yes, we color folk, we always wrong. When the white person goes to get himself better, they say it's honor. But when the colored person does something, we get lynched.
What do you expect me to do about it?
You look like a pretty woman, Harriet. So I think you should just make kin to me. We should just leave it like this today.
All right. I swear to God I will not tell anyone about you being here.
Swear it to Jesus.
I swear to Jesus I will not tell anyone about you being here.
You are sure a pretty fine Christian woman, Harriet. So I don't think you would tell anything about me. Then good day to you, and you go and go on the porch.
Where have you been? Don't you know I was almost killed? Take the gun. I can't tell you what happened, but read the note.
Why do you mean read a note? A runaway slave just swore me to silence kill him?
Mr. Potter, what did Mr. Houston say when you told him that keeping alive Santa Ana was like resuscitating Satan?
'Tis a story I will tell you with every detail, but I don't want to abuse your family's hospitality. I must ask, would you allow me to visit you personally?
But, Mr. Potter, I assume you are married.
What are you doing? How dare you take all our vegetables?
We need help.
Why?
Please help us. We are dying in our village. We need food.
What do you expect me to do about it?
I survived, but can't you hire more men?
Hetty, the problem is not trying to find someone to be here when I'm not. It's finding people we can trust. The Russells just moved in, so we have less to worry about now.
But, Robert, we have so much land that our neighbors are like people from a foreign country. And while I'm on the subject, we need more lumber for the corn crib and about 5 more sows who can root for water moccasins and some butterfly root for the slaves.
Listen, Hattie, I can work on that, but tell me more of the people who tried to harm you.
I wrote you a letter detailing everything I could remember.
I can't wait to get my hands on them. My angel, this reads like a court document.
Hey, you over there! Hands up or I'll shoot! Why have you been stealing my horses and threatening my wife? Thomas, to show mercy on them would be to catch their disease. Mr. Rose, my old cousin from Greenville, North Carolina. How's your family? How's Lucy?
Now, Robert, you and I know that we aren't relatives, but it is a damnedest thing, ain't it, that 2 Greenville boys should end up by the same Texas lake?
It is a beautiful lake.
Yeah. Well, I want you to know, though, Robert, you're not going to get my vote for Congress. I'll be with John B. Dent. And also, I'd like you to know that I don't appreciate you hitting on my daughter, Lucy. You know full well you got a woman already.
Well, you would think 2 Greenville boys would have more in common. Well, if you want to blow on coals, where'd you get that big slave boy over there?
Why should I tell you that, Mr. Potter?
Because he tried to kill my maidservant.
That Casper over there is the most hard-working, loyal, long-term slave I have. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you ever go by the name of Possum Parrot?
Not that I'm aware of.
Let me take him to the woman and see what she says.
And if she says it's him, what are you going to do about it?
Dismembering and 39 lashes would be the best of lessons for your slave.
Potter, I knew what kind of man you were in North Carolina. I want to tell you something. You're not going to be the law here. If there's anyone who's going to do the sentence or judgment, it'll be me.
So you mean after he's committed a crime, you're not going to let me at him?
Listen, mister, we've established our own laws here in Northeast Texas, because there ain't any. Don't even begin to tell me how I'm going to run my own affairs. Authorities of any kind have never been here. And that's why I'm here. Because I like it that way.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Yeah. The pirate from North Carolina who's unmanned man.
I give you my word, Rose. If you don't turn that slave over to me in a week, I'm going to get you for obstruction of justice and slave stealing. You're going to pay for this.
Potter is interfering with my affairs.
I wish his wife would start a little shoonery with my affairs.
Boys, really?
No, you don't. Pater Patificorus the first is an animal. He has castrated men for even looking at his wife. And now he's out to control Northeast Texas.
He what?
I'm saying that he Potterized men in Carolina. You can read about it. He turned them into eunuchs.
You know, I think that copperhead might be long enough away by now. What do you say we just let him go?
Potter's a former pirate who went by the name of Commissioner of the Texas Navy. Now he's trying to use the lever of the law to evict us.
But how, Daddy?
2 things he's doing. He's doing hypnotizing and legalizing. He's trying to win over people who want his help more than they want liberty. And then he's using his ties with the Mirabou-Lamar administration to dredge up subpoenas, warrants, and commissions.
But Daddy, how's that supposed to hurt us?
Well, like any settlers that had to settle land, we had to make decisions. There was no government here, mind you. We had to deal with horse thieves. We had to parcel out land and settle insults, such as we're giving your sister Lucy.
Now Potter's trying to throw the book at us for what we had to do.
Nice reward.
And what about his woman?
That hellcat Harriet is Jezebel to his Ahab. Who do you think's pushing Potter to foreclose on all those little nabos and all their vineyards? That woman, she plays men like cards. When her first husband didn't bring in diamonds, she decided for the King of Spades.
Old Rose has killed a sheriff, stolen slaves, and lives like he's the law himself. If we don't bring him to justice, he will take over all of Northeast Texas.
Congratulations, Mr. Potter. The voters of Northeast Texas have elected you to represent them in Austin.
Capital development.
Your beauty is like a henna blossom in the vineyard of Engedi. I am the most fortunate man in the world to know you.
Robert, how can you say that? You told me that my being married has made you crazy enough to shoot yourself.
Sophia, with you, I burn with desire and elation. Tell me to jump into the Colorado and I will. I'm yours. How fortunate I am that you've been such a force for good in my life. To restrain me, to keep me from doing harm to my own body.
But I hurt someone. Robert, I know what your passion demands, and I will not let you hurt yourself.
Sophia, how great you are. To come down from your own perfection, your own purity. Save me right where I am.
Robert, I have a love for you, and I esteem our friendship enough to do this thing, but before I give myself to you, you will want the inner satisfaction of knowing that your oaths to love are sincere. My improvident husband is going to leave me penniless. I thank you so much already for your generous donations, but I'm also going to need assurances for later.
Sophia, don't worry. I'm going to turn my will into the Honorable Richard Rusk. I've bequeathed to you 10,000 acres of land near Lake Soda in Northeast Texas.
Oh, you wonderful man.
Sophia, your virtue has given me a new lease on life.
They're coming for me. Where shall I go? Here, master, get between behind the firepower. The tomb's about to burn.
Where's Rose?
No one here but a boss with us slaves.
Weren't you the slave that visited my home?
No boss, no.
You're coming with me.
You should have killed old Rose.
He was nowhere to be found. My posse couldn't last forever.
People here, get up and defend us. Get the guns.
There's no time.
Robert!
He's down, master. Good work, Perry. Now you can go get one of his boats and we'll dump him in the middle of the lake.
Ruthie has something to tell you, ma'am.
Miss Potter, something else happened in the gunfire.
Stop! I can't take any more!
Your daughter, Lakin, is dead.
No! No!
Do we have any more of that laudanum?
We could use it. She might be suffering from a delirium. Her husband dead, and now her daughter.
Not to mention, old Rose may want to silence her as a witness.
We have to protect ourselves and this place.
I'm not here for that.
We will hang together, or the moderators will hang us separately.
Mr. Rose, this woman here, Harriet Page.
Objection, Your Honor!
But I'm about to show that this woman, who claims to have seen the murder of her husband,
has also lied to the court about her marriage to this man.
What?
I would like the judge and jury to examine the will of the late Robert Potter, which was in the files of Richard Rusk in Austin. In it we note that he does not refer to Harriet here as his wife, but also as Harriet Page, and that he also in his will refers to another woman, Sophia Mayfield, to whom he also leaves his Minnesota estate.
This must be some mistake. It's a lie.
There are two problems here, Mrs. Potter. First of all, William Rose, the probable murderer of your husband, inspires too much fear to get a good trial. And besides, he knows Thomas Rusk and other patriots in Nacogdoches. Secondly, though Sophia Mayfield hasn't claimed your land yet, she or her estate could do so at any time.
Earlier in my life, having heard of these perils, I would have been impelled to move on, but I've fallen in love with this lake country. Look. Do you think I'm a fool?
No, Mrs. Potter, I have tremendous respect and regard for you.
Well, Charles, I have tremendous respect for you too. And I want you to know that your advice to me during my trial has given me something like a will, something to fight for. You have rescued me from despair.
Well, Mrs. Potter, I mean, Harriet,
But in the face of this dream, I feel like a helpless lamb, able only to bleat for protection.
Don't cry. Why cloud such beautiful eyes?
Why do I find your eyes attractive too?
I refer now to atrocities in areas where slavery is the law, and note how various forms of outright just drive in slave districts where all men are brutalized by slave customs. Case 4. The terrible death of Robert Potter. From the Caddo Gazette of the 12th instance, we learned the frightful death of Colonel Robert Potter. He was beset in his house by an enemy named Rose. He was riddled with the shots of their guns.
Daddy. Daddy, what's wrong? Aren't you waking up? Lucy! Daddy.
Oh no. Daddy is dead.
So, Daddy, how was married life with Mrs. Harriet?
Well, my womanish daughters, as Aristotle one time said, by all means marry. If your wife is devoted, you'll live happily ever after. But if not, you'll become a philosopher.
Well, Daddy, we all knew you were happy with Mom. May she rest in peace. But your new young wife is like a charm on fire. Everyone loves her.
Yeah, everyone loves her, and now I've been doing a lot of thinking lately.
Oh, Daddy, you're always the complainer. I mean, you have a beautiful wife, a beautiful home, a beautiful lake, and more land than anyone else in Northeast Texas.
That's sort of like the land's not going to be ours forever.
And why not?
Because her late husband, Robert Potter, did not leave it to her in his will.
That's strange. But you'll hold it. Everyone around here knew she was married to him.
Yeah. And why do you think Harriet married me? She now has her own private lawyer, on call 24 hours a day, ready at any moment to do pro bono work on her behalf.
Oh, Daddy, you're just tired. I'm sure you have a great plan in mind already.
No, that Sophia Mayfield woman just hasn't pressed the case yet. But that just means her estate will pull the carpet from under us. She appears to be on her deathbed for some reason.
Well, so what? You bought other lands?
Yeah, but I've got a wife who set her claws on the Soda Lake land. And by the way, you know there's a new Gazette in Marshall. They want to try to change the name to Lake Caddo. She wants a lawsuit against that.
I think you need to give Miss Harriet a good talking to.
Yeah, I need to give a rosebush a good hug. Ouch. She is so engaged in settling this land and making it prosperous. I mean, Stephen of Austin never did it better. And she does attract people. She gets children, she gets slaves to grub. Still, I should have known what kind of grog her love would be. She wants new taxing districts, new roads. She wants another lawsuit against the Rose family. She wants to sell land she doesn't even own. It's just one web of legal gossamer after another. But I cannot scold. No, I can't chide.
She's right. The country of Northeast Texas was so forsaken, so overgrown with wild, desperate men. For this reason, I think that someday people are going to have to say, I just got this portrait today from Jefferson. Someday they're going to have to say, this will be, no, this is their mother. This is the mother of Northeast Texas. She is the land-hungriest woman alive, and it took that in order for this country to be redeemed.
Daddy, please. I think you have too much to drink already. Please, Daddy.
To wrestle this country out of the hands of wild savages, it took someone willing to use men as pawns and fire them to do the unthinkable. Potter was dissolute, her husband, but she used him. And then, her first husband, oh yeah, she was a gambler, not him. She was a dreamer, the visionary. She was willing to risk everything, I tell you, her marriage, her children, herself. If it took fighting Indians, she would do that. If it took pointing a gun at a slave, she would do that. If it took marrying a lawyer, she would do that.
Daddy, Lucille has been nice enough to let you stay here for tonight. Why don't you get some rest?
Her savage will is making her a legend. And me, a gray-haired wreck.